Well, given the events of this week, which we've been talking about already all show, it did feel worth spending some time digging into the sheer political influence of the richest man in the world, Donald Trump's unelected billionaire backer, Elon Musk. Now, as we mentioned earlier, Musk inserted himself right in the middle of the spending fight on Capitol Hill this week. On Wednesday night, after a bipartisan deal had been negotiated and announced, Musk immediately began railing publicly against the bill. You might know he posted a ton about the bill. What you might not know is he posted a ton of things that were completely false. He said that the original bill funded a bioweapons lab. It didn't. He reposted a claim that the bill contained $60 billion for Ukraine, as well as mask and vaccine mandates. It didn't. Musk also reposted a claim that the bill included $3 billion for a new football stadium in D.C. Didn't include that either. But Musk, the richest man in the world and the owner of the social media site, formerly known as Twitter, got what he wanted. And House Republicans killed the bill. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but an unelected billionaire with a lot of government contracts appearing to call the shots in Congress is not exactly a healthy sign of democracy. By the way, all that fear-mongering Republicans and the right wing have pushed about liberal billionaire donors like George Soros all seems pretty rich right now, considering what Elon Musk has been up to over just the last couple of days. I mean, right now, Musk is basically flaunting his influence in order to bully elected lawmakers and government officials. He has singled out relatively unknown federal officials and workers whose jobs he wants to cut, and he has already warned Republicans standing in his and Trump's way that he will fund primary challengers against them. That's one of their favorite threats these days. And as we look at all that influence, I think it's important to point out that his actual positions are at times indiscernible from your average red-pilled poster on 4chan. He has said that the woke mind virus is a threat to modern civilization. He has repeatedly echoed the white supremacist great replacement theory. He said that Europe is headed towards civil war due to the arrival of refugees. And this week, he even expressed support for a far-right party in Germany. In the midst of the spending fight in Washington, Musk tweeted that only the AfD can save Germany. Now, for those of you who don't know, the AfD promotes an ethno-nationalist and Islamophobic message. Its youth wing has been classified as confirmed extremist by Germany's domestic intelligence agency. Some of its leaders have broken German laws by repeating Nazi slogans, and it has ties with known neo-Nazis. So that is the kind of thing that Elon Musk has decided to promote to his 200 million followers. That's what he's using his platform for. Like I said, in some ways, there's just not that much that separates Musk from a run-of-the-mill internet troll. He spreads misinformation. He celebrates extremism. He does it to basically stir the pot. The only difference, and this is a big one, is he's also the richest man on earth, who owns and operates one of the biggest social media megaphones in the world, and who basically controls the president of the elect of the United States. And that, my friends, is a very dangerous combination. Coming up, Donald Trump is enlisting the help of House Republicans in his retribution campaign, and they are setting their sights on Liz Cheney. So one of the things that was overshadowed by the spending fight in Congress this week is that House Republicans are already trying to help Trump deliver on his promise of retribution in his second term. In a report released this week, they called for an FBI investigation into former Congresswoman Liz Cheney, baselessly accusing her of witness tampering, among other things, in connection with the testimony of Cassidy Hutchinson. Now, the problem, as you might imagine, is that their allegations don't pass the smell test. Of course they don't. In fact, their case is so flimsy, it's already falling apart under scrutiny. But that's not actually the point here, because I don't think these Republicans care. Their goal is to tee up, I think, but I'm going to talk to my next guest about this, a federal investigation of Liz Cheney on false pretenses, which would save Trump the trouble of ordering one himself. Of course, Trump is also pushing these accusations, characterizing them today as, quote, egregious and unthinkable acts of crime, which they definitely are not. Joining me now is our friend and former acting U.S. Solicitor General, the best explainer out there, Neal Katyal. Okay, Neal, this allegation against Liz Cheney is pretty baseless. We've said that. Everybody said that. But I think it's really important for our viewers to understand why.
So it's kind of nuts, Jen, to think that the one crime that occurred around January 6th was not the hundreds of people who invaded the Capitol or the leadership that led to that insurrection, but rather the crime was the investigation into January 6th. But that's what this House report evidently says, that Cassidy Hutchinson, one of the witnesses against Trump, had counsel, and that Liz Cheney ignored her counsel and just went and talked directly to Cassidy Hutchinson and procured another lawyer for Cassidy Hutchinson and the like. This is just bogus. It is true that there is a crime in the statute book, 1622, that bars someone from procuring another person to commit perjury. Here, all Liz Cheney did was say to Cassidy Hutchinson, hey, you've got a Trump-affiliated lawyer who evidently is not letting you tell the truth. Here's a list of some other lawyers who could represent you. That is not witness tampering. Witness tampering is when you're preventing someone from telling the truth, and here Liz Cheney was enabling Cassidy Hutchinson to tell the truth. This is not a crime, no way.
This is such an important point. She was trying to enable her to tell the truth publicly to the American people. That was what the objective was here. So I raise this, but I'm really curious, most importantly, what you think, because it may be that some of these Republicans recognize this as a little flimsy, but part of the question is, what's the point here? And part of the point, some of it speculated, is that it's to predicate, to justify a DOJ investigation. I mean, that's not how it's supposed to work, but are you worried that Trump's FBI could use this as a pretext to try to launch a probe?
They could try, but Jen, it would fail right at the get-go, not just because there's no crime here or any credible allegation, but also because Liz Cheney, as a member of Congress at the time, is entitled to the constitutional protection of speech or debate immunity. It's actually in the Constitution, unlike Trump's claim about being absolutely immune when he was president. It's in there, it would prevent it. So I don't think that's what's going on. Why are we hearing about all this conversation right now in December? I think because the Republican Party is thinking about what's going to happen on January 20th. And one of the things Donald Trump wants to do is pardon the hundreds of people who were involved in the January 6th insurrection. And they've already been convicted. They've gone through jury or other trials and the like. I think what Trump is trying to do here is to bait President Biden into pardoning Liz Cheney, and that'll allow Trump to say, hey, look, even Biden thinks Liz Cheney did something wrong by pardoning these people. This investigation is bogus. Now I need to remedy what's left and pardon all these January 6th people. So I think that's really what's going on, a hope that Biden will use the pardon power to protect Liz Cheney, and then that'll enable Trump to use it for the January 6th insurrectionists.
Oh, gosh, that's a lot of getting in the minds of a lot of people, but it sounds pretty right on to me. You've advised a lot of people. I mean, the thing about these congressional committees, this is not how it's supposed to work. They have subpoena power, right? They're supposed to use that to get to the bottom of the truth. I mean, if you were advising Liz Cheney, who hasn't hidden, she's called this malicious, what would you tell her to do in this case?
Oh, I think, she'll fight and there'll be no problem for her. I mean, there's no crime here, not even the hint of one, and she's protected by immunity. So I suspect this is a fight that, she wants to have. Liz Cheney is one of the last remaining symbols of a principled GOP. And this new GOP isn't going to try and stop until her memory is erased. But I think it's very important that she continue what she started.
Neal Katyal, thank you so much. Always one of the best explainers in the business and legal minds. Appreciate you joining us. Coming up, Democrats pass up a big opportunity to elevate one of their youngest